Today we're going to talk about 3 core training exercises I learned while training with circus aerialists. These exercises are simple. That does not mean that they are easy. You'll see them pop up in a bunch of different types of training, including Pilates. Everybody, gym goers, CrossFitters, we should all integrate this stuff into our training. Let's talk about the 3 exercises, what, why, and how to do them. Any ballerina or Pilates queen will recognize these 3 exercises. They're part of the initial series of Pilates. They do them on reformers, they do them on the ground. Circus performers tend to do them on the ground because they tend to be training, on a mat somewhere underneath their aerial equipment. The first exercise tends to be the hardest for most people. It is the V-up. We're going to talk about the simple version of the V-up that almost anybody can learn. Let's start with the V-up. Let's start tailbone on the ground. We're going to compress our knees down to our chest and put our skull flat on the ground. This is a rest position. By pulling our knees into the chest, we're going to force our rib cage down so that when we activate, we're going from full relaxation to full activation. I don't care what you do with your hands in the beginning. I care about the legs. Sit up. There we go. It's always different on different ground. Activate the legs as hard as possible. Your goal is to be a V. Hold, bend the knees, relax down, 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 down. Pull your knees into your chest. That helps decompress the spine. Sit up, lock out, lift the chest up, but don't lift the rib cage up. Keep the rib cage down to keep the core engaged. Get down, pause, sit up, up, up. There we go, figured out the ground, all the way down. The important part is perfectly straight legs. This movement here is the basics of all of your L-sits that you do in aerial, whether it's rings in gymnastics, rings in CrossFit, or pullovers in aerial. It's all based on this activation. Your core and your legs do go together. Don't listen to anybody who tells you they don't. Exercise number 2 is the one that people tend to do wrong. This is V-up, opposite arm, opposite leg raise. So in the last one, in V-up, sliding V-up, we started with our knees pulled in to flatten out our spine. On this one, we're gonna start in a giant X position. Here, your rib cage will probably be lifted in order to get your hands to the ground. The goal here, opposite arm to opposite leg, sit up in a V-up. Same thing, perfectly straight leg here, get all the way down. Sit up, a slight rotation, get all the way down. Sit up, touch, all the way down, sit up, touch. The important part is that this muscle is flexed, like you're at the top of a squat. If this muscle is soft and your knee is bent, you're not doing it right yet. The goal here is to activate this leg, straighten it as hard as possible, and point your toe if you want to be pretty. Open all the way up, rib cage lifts. When we start the movement, we are contracting, driving the rib cage down. The way that people tend to do this wrong is they tend to bring their arm and their leg together, but they don't do the V part of it. Don't leave out the V. That is the key part. That's why we tend to start the series with the sliding V, so that we know that people can't get to the V itself before we go to the V-up, opposite arm, opposite leg raise. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Focus on perfectly straight quads. All of these will focus on straight quads. When people learn these, they tend to leave out the leg activation. But you'll notice, circus performers make perfectly straight legs. Ballerinas make perfectly straight legs, and they integrate that with their core. Gymnastics rings athlete integrate perfectly straight legs. So your goal with all of these exercises is perfectly straight legs. The last one is the easiest. This is the one you see a lot, but you tend to see it with bent legs on the extended leg. Remove the bent leg. Focus on the quad. We're going to start all the way down. Hands up behind our head. We are going to start by bringing opposite knee and elbow together. The other leg is lifted and perfectly straight. Rotate across, touch, rotate across, touch. Our goal here is to take this toe and tap it to the inside of this knee to connect the loop so we know where it's at in space. Touch, rotate, cross, touch, rotate, cross, touch, rotate, cross, touch. In the beginning, people tend to look that way when they go for this cross touch. Let's try to look up and rotate our body. Pilates people will argue about the perfect technique for this exercise forever. The important part to me is getting the rotation of the body under load, get the contact all the way up, because then you are contracting the core into that crunch based on what surface you're training on, whether it's mats, whether it's outside, whether it's on an apparatus, will change how this rotation works. 3 exercises. Sliding V up, full relaxation of the spine with its reset. Get up to that V, make that V shape, activate the quads. The opposite arm, opposite leg raise, where we are starting in deficit and we are crunching the core. We're giving ourselves that objective. Don't leave out the V part of it. Don't leave out the V part of it. Then we tighten that up so it can be faster. This one is slower because the straight arm and straight leg are moving further. The crossbody rotation can be much faster, but not so fast that you are keeping this leg bent. This is what you tend to see, a bent leg instead of a straight leg. These 3 exercises help you build that core to leg connection, which allows you to start building the rest of your aerial skill. Then you have to figure out how to hold that while doing things like pulling, flipping upside down, rolling left, rolling light, holding on to people. Straight legs are strong legs. Simple idea for these exercises is to set a timer for, say, 50 seconds with a 10-second break and do these exercises in a row. Doing the sliding V up, opposite arm, opposite leg raise, and cross body, 3 back-to-back is usually incredibly hard for almost everybody. Normally what we would do is we would integrate some other type of exercise in the middle, and then we would start stretching out a core routine of exercises, each day focusing on a different combination of exercises. We organize our core training exactly like we organize our aerial training. The good thing about core training is you're on the ground. So if you mess it up and you train to failure, you don't die. The bad thing about training aerial in the air is you take a bunch of movements, you stretch them together, but if you train to failure, you tend to fall to your untimely death. So core training is there to support something like aerial training, but they both follow the same idea. We take an important movement and then we put other things around it. So an idea in core training would be to take our sliding V up, go for 50 seconds, transition across to something like a plank family of movement and start working on another movement for 50 seconds, and then probably pick some type of rotation exercise like a hip drop and do that, and then repeat that cycle for something like 1 round of 3 minutes, 2 rounds of 6 minutes, 3 rounds of 9 minutes, and then it gets really serious and horrifying somewhere around 4 rounds for 12 minutes. We made an abs program and there are 100 3-minute core routines in it, and then 100 4-minute routines, and then 100 5-minute routines, just so people can start to understand what they are shooting for and build the strength and mobility that they need in order to do something like Circus aerial. So we took 50 movements, a bunch of aerial movements, we took a bunch of plank movements and a bunch of get-up movements, and we sat around like super nerds and designed all kinds of concepts for it. And I think that there's like 500 core routines in that program now. Most people just doing 3 minutes of aerial core will kill them, even if they're a gym-going person. So you tend to start with 3 minutes and then build up over the course of, say, a year in order to get the most out of these types of movements.